I've been able to help over 30 SaaS companies bring in hundreds of new customers using this hidden LinkedIn content strategy. And no, you don't need to spend thousands of dollars having big accounts boost your content, and you don't need to spend 40 hours a week writing your posts. All you gotta do is follow this 7-step formula that I'm about to give you so you can grow a big, engaged LinkedIn audience and monetize them by bringing new users into your SaaS every single day. Now, why is LinkedIn the best platform to post on if you're trying to get SaaS customers in 2024? The answer is quite simple. Really, in short, the type of people that are on LinkedIn using it regularly are the type of people that would make fantastic users for your SaaS. It's primarily a B2B audience, and they actually want to be served B2B content. So if you think about it in comparison to Instagram or TikTok, I don't know about you, but when I'm using Instagram after work, at dinner, when I really shouldn't be scrolling, but I am scrolling, I just want to rot my brain and just turn my brain off and watch funny videos and call it a day. Same thing with TikTok, but on LinkedIn, people want to be served B2B content. I'm not saying those other platforms can't work, but it's just so much easier to make B2B SaaS content work on LinkedIn than it is other platforms. And the platform itself is hungry for great content. Only 1% of users are even posting content consistently. And the platform wants to become a content creation platform more than just a job seeking platform. So they're incentivizing people to post, and the organic reach is still quite predictable and strong. So you're going to get in front of decision makers who want to consume that type of content. And it's reasonable to assume that if the content is half decent, which I'll get into later in this video, you're going to get good organic reach. Now to the big question, should you post from your founder's account or your own personal account or the company account? And the answer is quite obvious. From what I'm seeing in my own content, in the clients that we work with, in the hundreds of posts that we're posting every single week, personal accounts on LinkedIn just seem to dominate. I know there's a lot of debate about this topic right now, but the answer, again, just like the platform you choose, the type of account you choose is also pretty much a no-brainer in 2024. So just to show you, I'll give you a comparison to look at a company page versus a personal account. I'll use myself as an example here. If we start off with my company page, Compound, it's not massive, but it's also not nothing. There's a good amount of followers. And if I have almost 1,000 followers, but I post this one, look, it's only 8 likes, which is like kind of not great. This one's a little bit better, but still not great. So anywhere between that 8 to 10 to 12 like range, it seems to be where my content falls. But if I look at my personal account, this post has over 100 likes and almost 1 million impressions. If I scroll down to this one, this post has almost 30 likes. This post has almost 100 likes and 10,000 impressions. So you just see how it's a night and day difference between my personal account and the company page. And the short answer is that people want to follow people. If you think about how you consume content, think about all of the accounts that you follow and read or watch content from. A lot of the times they're going to be influencers or creators or other people. You likely aren't following many or any brand accounts. It's the same thing with your LinkedIn strategy, and you want to build out your own content strategy the same way. And just so we're not only looking at my own content, I want to show you the difference between a personal and company page for a company like Shopify, who's a multi-billion-dollar company. So if I look at this post from the company page, for example, it has almost 40 likes, which is not terrible, but again, for a company page that has almost 900,000 followers, not amazing. And then this one down here has almost 60 likes, only 1 comment, 10 reposts. Again, it's not terrible, but it's also, for the size of the page, not amazing. And you have a few posts that hit quite well. So this one has almost 500 likes. So the company pages aren't totally dead, but it's just so much easier to grow from your personal account. So if I go back here and click into Harley's account, you'll see that this is a new post. I'm not going to count that, but this post actually was 2 hours ago, and it already has almost 620 likes. This one has 235 likes. And if you look at just the consistent engagement across all of these pieces of content, I'll just scroll so you can see it. That baseline of engagement is just so much higher on a personal account. So this one has almost 1,700 likes, and it's just night and day from the personal to company account. So if you're debating in 2024 which type of account you should post from, I would almost always recommend your personal account as a founder. Now, how do you set up your profile from your personal account to convert as many visitors into followers and as many followers into customers? The simple framework I recommend for this is treating your profile like a landing page. You want to optimize it to convert as many people as possible into new followers and ultimately customers. And there's a few different best practices you'll want to keep in mind. First and foremost, with the profile picture, don't overcomplicate it. Make it simple, clear, easy to see. You don't want something that's super zoomed out, because when people are scrolling on the timeline, it's going to be hard to see you. With your headlines, that piece of text underneath your profile picture, when people are scrolling on LinkedIn, you'll want to share your role, your company, and a quick one-line explanation of the value that you provide. So why someone should follow you. If I look at my profile real quick, you can see this in action, a very clear profile picture. I don't overthink the header, to be honest. I think a lot of people overthink this, and it doesn't actually make that much of a difference. I actually think that a scrappier header actually makes you look more like a real person and just more personable than a super branded corporate looking header. But super clear profile picture with the headline, CEO at Compound, which is my agency, building a social media agency for B2B companies. So it just gives a very clear idea of who I am, what I do, what value I provide. Now, you'll also want to have your featured links set up. And this is where you want to move people to the next step of your funnel. So what's the next logical step? In a lot of cases, this is either going to be your homepage, a book a demo page, or some sort of lead magnet. So for myself, if I go down here, I have my newsletter, and then I have my LinkedIn content templates. By the way, if you want those, I'll link them in the description. But I have these two as the next steps in my funnel. Now, I'm a service-based business, so it's a little bit different, but same idea. I want to move people deeper into the funnel. If I pull up an example from a SaaS founder like Adam Robinson, you can see his featured link is just the homepage of RB2B, which is the SaaS company that he's trying to push traffic to. One thing I love about this, and I did the same with my own featured links, is you want to use that image sort of like a YouTube thumbnail. You want to use it as another hook or a way to get people to click to the next step. In this, he has the text and the headline, but you notice how the image is bright and colorful, and it also very clearly states what the value of the product is, which will increase the conversion rate of people clicking through. Don't overthink this. Just share what you do and what value that someone is going to get by following you. Honestly, not many people will actually read the bio of the people that they're following since it's so buried in the profile. As long as your headline is dialed in, your profile picture is good, and you've got your featured link set up, you're going to be good to go. Getting into the type of content that you're going to be producing, every single founder or person who wants to grow on LinkedIn has to answer one question when they set up their account and start thinking about the type of content they're going to produce. And it's, why should someone in my ICP follow me? You would be shocked by how many founders skip over this question. And as a result, they have a very unclear value proposition, and they don't really give someone a clear reason to follow them. The topics of their posts are all over the place. It's confusing. It's also hard for you to come up with ideas for content when you don't even know what you want to be known for. The best way to get traction early on LinkedIn is to become known for one thing. And that's not just LinkedIn. It's on any platform you're trying to grow, like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok. Why should someone in your ICP follow you? You want to be their go-to resource for one specific thing. So for me, it's B2B social and content. For you, it might be email marketing or paid advertising or outbound marketing, whatever that category is that's most related to your product. So for example, if you're selling something in sales tech, you might want to be known for sales tips and advice. And if you're starting something in the sales tech space, you probably were an experienced account executive or VP of sales or CRO at a company before, because very rarely do you just end up starting a company without any prerequisite experience in that category. So you can use that experience in those stories to create content that is relevant to your ICP. But you need to get clear on why someone in that group should follow you. Now, as far as the types of content that you should be producing, don't overthink this. I'll run you through a few of my favorite examples so you pretty much have a sample calendar to work with. The first thing you'll want to do is share personal experiences that tie back to your business journey or your company. So here's an example of what that would look like in a post. This is a great post from Austin from Unify, who's crushing on social right now, kind of detailing some of the journey or the background behind his founder journey. And this is definitely more of a top of funnel, like broad founder life post that can pick up good traction on LinkedIn. And if you're a founder, one of the most effective things you could do is share more insights on how you're approaching being a founder. I know it's kind of meta, but it works very well on LinkedIn. Another type of content that works really well is listicles. This isn't new to LinkedIn, but it does work especially well on the platform. So here's another example of what that might look like in action. This is a great list-based post from Adam Robinson. And what you'll notice here is you don't necessarily have to start every list-based post with, hey, here's 5 tips to X, Y, or Z, or here's 5 myths to dispel in X, Y, or Z category. Here's 5 mistakes to avoid in X, Y, or Z category. You can actually start it with a story-based hook like Adam does in this example, and then format the post as a list. But I love lists, especially for founders who are just starting on LinkedIn, because one, people on LinkedIn love them and they're easy to read. They're also easier to write. It's a lot easier to organize a list-based post or a listicle than it is to write a very cohesive narrative or story-based post. That takes a little bit more expertise. So if you're just starting, lean pretty heavily into lists and checklists and bulleted lists. And one of your superpowers when it comes to content as a founder is that you're always talking to customers and prospects. So one other type of post that you'll want to use very regularly is anecdotes and examples from those conversations with customers. So this is a great example on screen right now by Shreyas. He's the CTO and co-founder at Fermat. And if we scroll down, you'll see the post did quite well. And this is great because those customer stories both can perform well on LinkedIn LinkedIn and get a lot of engagement, but they're also very bottom of funnel and product related. So you can simultaneously get a lot of reach and engagement while also tying in your product very directly and actually driving real demand. Because yes, getting impressions and followers and all of that is important, but at the end of the day, we want to get users. That's why you're here. So telling customer stories and framing them in a social native format is a great way to do that. The biggest thing here, regardless of the format or type of post that you create, is that you want to share beliefs that are genuinely yours and come from your experience. Even if they copy your hook formats or your post styles, they can't copy your experience. They can't copy your original takes. And as long as you lean into that and post ideas and takes and experiences that you genuinely believe in and are unique to you, you really can't lose when it comes to founder-led content. And again, your experiences up until this point likely led you to start this company. You didn't just appear in this founder role out of nowhere. You have experience in the category that you're operating in most cases. So you have a lot of anecdotes, examples, stories that you can pull into your LinkedIn content. Now, since you know what content to post, you should know when to post it. And it's not insanely complex. What I typically recommend is 5 to 7 times per week. As far as time of day for posting, it's not the end of the world if you post at like an off time, but generally we recommend mid-morning for our clients. It's when we see the best performance. People are online in their workday, they're on LinkedIn, and they're around to engage with your content versus say posting something at 9 p.m. when most people are logged off. You have some psychos like myself who scroll LinkedIn then, but most people are not going to be actively engaging with content on the platform at that time. You'll also want to avoid posting too much in one day. LinkedIn is a unique social platform in that if you post too much, it can actually impact the performance of your content. At least that's the case right now. So what I would recommend is 1 time per day. You can do twice per day occasionally, but you won't want to go above twice per day or else you'll notice that the algorithm will likely start to suppress your content. And if you look at a lot of the best B2B founders, you'll notice that they post so consistently. So if you look at my content, I'm posting pretty much every day. So I posted an hour ago. I actually didn't post yesterday on Sunday, but I posted 2 days ago, 3 days ago. And you see that I'm just posting day after day after day after day. And that's how you stay top of mind with your target audience. Another example here, Adam is prolific when it comes to content. He's posting every single day pretty much. And again, a lot of the names that you associate with founder-led content and doing this well are just posting day after day and being super consistent. It gives them more data points and more insight as to what's working well and what's not. And it also keeps them top of mind with their target audience, especially as an early stage company. You don't have the luxury of posting and then going dark for months and then posting again and people still caring. You need to show up in front of them every single day. And now that you're posting content consistently, you got to figure out how do you actually measure success and look at what's working and what's not. And there's 2 buckets I like to look at here. One is going to be your social metrics. This is what you see in the LinkedIn analytics platform. It's going to be your impressions, follower growth, engagement, all of the stuff that you typically think about when it comes to social media marketing. Those things should be trending up generally, and you should see signs of life pretty early. It's a good leading indicator. If you've been posting for a month or 2 and you're not seeing any improvement in follower growth or impressions, you're likely doing something wrong and you'll want to troubleshoot. But there's also the business side of things, because again, we want to get customers. I'm not trying to make you a celebrity. I'm trying to get you customers. So you want to be also paying attention to how many leads and how many customers are coming in through LinkedIn. And attribution through social is a bit of a black box because, as we all know, the buyer's journey isn't necessarily a straight line, but there are ways to get an idea generally of like, hey, is this channel really working for me? My recommendation is have some sort of form that people fill out when they sign up for your product, or if you're sales led, when they get on a sales call or before they get on a sales call, that ask them, hey, how do you hear about us? Pretty much self-reported attribution. And this also is not perfect, but generally, if you're posting consistently on LinkedIn for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, you should see an increase in the number of people that are reporting that they found you through LinkedIn in that self-reported attribution. And the tricky part about LinkedIn and just social in general, why some people and founders hesitate to trust it, is because attribution can be a black box. But if you can get over that fear and trust that, hey, this is how people buy now in 2024, you're going to win with content. And there are ways to make sure you're going in the right direction, but don't try to over measure this, because again, it's usually not the case that someone sees a LinkedIn post, clicks a UTM link and signs up right then and there. They usually see a LinkedIn post or see multiple posts, and then they get hit up by your outbound person. They see you at an event and they see another LinkedIn post, they see an ad, they opt into your email list. And eventually when they realize they need a product in your category, your company is the first one that's top of mind. And that all started with them seeing your LinkedIn content. But you can use those social metrics like impressions, follower growth, audience growth, all of that as a leading indicator for the ultimate business metrics that we're trying to go after. And as you start posting more, you're going to see certain types of content perform really well and some kind of flop. And I want to show you an example of one that actually did flop on my account and how I would change it to see if it would perform perform any better. Because what you'll notice is underperforming content isn't just content to throw away forever. There's often tweaks that you can make that can actually make it perform better the next time you post it. So here's a LinkedIn post that I wrote that did okay. It got 29 likes, but if you look at my baseline, this one has over 100 and quite a few impressions. If you just scroll through the rest of my account, it actually is quite below baseline. So 30 likes might be good for some people. For me, it's kind of on the lower side of what I would want to see. So what happened here? I want to show you how I rewrote this post and what my thought process was. The biggest thing that I noticed in the version that didn't perform well was the hook was kind of average. It wasn't inherently bad. Like if you show it to someone, they might think, oh, this is a pretty good post, but it obviously wasn't strong enough to stop the scroll. One thing that I thought would make a difference if I reposted this was add some specific monetary numbers. So instead of the original version, misinformed founders mistake content for a distraction, savvy founders see it as a superpower. Okay, cool, that's fine. But the new version is misinformed founders mistake LinkedIn content for a distraction, massive mistake. So I'm trying to get curiosity going with that massive mistake piece. And then the second line, smart founders see it as a way to drive their next $1 million of ARR. Here's what I mean. A few components in that second line. I switched out savvy for smart. Smart is simpler. It likely will reach more people on the timeline and actually land with people as they're quickly scrolling through versus savvy. It's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to just try to sound smart for the sake of it. I added this next $1 million of ARR to give that specific monetary figure like I was just mentioning. And it's also quite polarizing because people might wonder, hey, how is LinkedIn content going to drive my next $1 million of ARR? And then I finished off with a curiosity gap writing, here's what I mean. That implies that there's going to be an explanation that someone has to click the see more button to keep reading. So by reworking that hook and reposting this, I imagine that this post will actually perform better. The other thing that I would suggest in here is adding a video or some sort of media. When I posted the original version, it was text only. And one trend we're seeing right now in LinkedIn is that text only is doing okay, but posts with media like video or images or graphics tend to actually perform better. So whenever possible, including some sort of relevant media with the post can be a way to increase its performance. So if I wanted to take this same idea, which I don't think is a bad idea, and make it perform better on LinkedIn, that's how I would tweak it. And that's how you want to be thinking about your post when you're going through what worked and how you can replicate it. And also stuff like this that kind of flops and you're like, okay, how do I fix this? Every post you should be thinking through, how can I make this hook stronger? How can I improve the formatting for next time? How can I make the CTA stronger? How can I make it flow more conversationally? And if you can stack those 1% improvements every single day, every single week, your content is going to look night and day different between now and a year from now. It's going to be ridiculous. Now I've got to talk about outbound engagement. And this is one of the most common mistakes I see founders make with LinkedIn. They just start posting and they don't engage or send DMs or comment, and they feel like they're posting into the void. And the solution here is quite simple. You'll want to find relevant accounts to engage with. And there's two types of accounts that you're going to do this with. One is going to be ICP accounts. So accounts that are in your ideal customer profile. In other words, people that you want to buy from you. You'll want to make a list of the accounts. You can just search them up manually and that's fine. They'll get the job done. And whenever they post, leave a thoughtful comment on their content and drop a like. And they'll start to see your stuff more and more. They'll also go over to your page, start engaging with your content. And that's one of the ways that you can actually get more people in your target audience to follow your content. You'll also want to send these people outbound connection requests because a lot of times people in your ICP are on LinkedIn, but they aren't posting a ton. So you might not be able to leave a bunch of likes and comments on their content because there's just not much content to work with, but you can actually send connection requests. And when they accept that, it's going to be a mutual follow. So they're going to see the content that you're posting. Second type of account to do this with is going to be thought leader account. So just like I said, not a lot of people in your ICP might be posting consistently, but there are other thought leaders in your category that people in your ICP are following. So you want to engage and comment on their posts as well, because that's going to be a great way to get in front of more people in your target audience because they're following that person. And that thought leader, once they see you engaging consistently with their content, they're likely going to reciprocate. And this is sort of how you create more or less an organic engagement pod without having to do any of like the scammy tactics that you see a lot of people promote. When you start engaging with other people, they're now incentivized to engage back with you and they want to. And you start to build this real genuine relationship that also happens to help you grow on LinkedIn. So if you're posting consistently and not seeing the growth that you want, this last piece is actually so important. I'd recommend dedicating 15 to 20 minutes a day to doing this. You don't need to spend all day on LinkedIn commenting and engaging, but you do want to set aside some time to do that outbound engagement and send connection requests. So that's my best LinkedIn content strategy that I've been using to generate leads and customers for my SaaS clients. And if you want a more in-depth guide on the exact post templates and just going deeper on the post types and templates that we use with our clients, check out this video on the screen right now where I'll walk you through 5 specific templates that you can steal and use in your own LinkedIn content strategy. And as always, thanks for watching.